Okay, so let's talk about some of the answers we just heard there. So overall, Ha showed really good fluency, not too many grammar mistakes, and her pronunciation was quite clear. So the area that we will talk about today is vocabulary. First of all, let's talk about idioms a little bit. So a lot of students feel the need to put a lot of idioms into their answer, and this can often seem quite unnatural. What I'd like to show you here is an example of good idiom use. So let's take her answer to part 1, the topic of writing. Do you write more now or less than you did a few years ago? So in this question, the examiner doesn't want you to say exactly, because of course we can't remember exactly how much we write compared to the past. So this is a chance to use an expression to show that you're not really sure. She uses the phrase by and large. This is what we call an idiomatic phrase. It means in general or not being specific. So yeah, by and large, this is a good example of a kind of idiomatic phrase that fits well into her answer. Okay, so let's consider now some vocabulary that Ha used in part 2 of her answer. So towards the end, you will notice she talked about an unknown region of cookery. Unknown region. So this is an example of some unsuitable word choice. I would say that instead of region, because we usually use region to talk about a place, she could just say this unknown activity or unknown job, like household job of cooking. So that's one example of some unsuitable word choice. Let's talk about another common mistake that a lot of students make with vocabulary. This is with the form of a word. So you'll notice the question said, what are the qualities that people need to do jobs that involve helping others? In this answer, Ha talked about the characteristic traits. So this should have been character traits or characteristics. So we would not put characteristic and traits together. So this is the incorrect form of the word. So one thing you have to do to get at least band 6 or higher in the IELTS speaking test is to try to paraphrase a little bit. So, in the previous example, she was trying to paraphrase when she talked about the character traits. Let's look at a good example of that. And this is for the last question in part 3. Do you think that salaries for jobs that involve helping people were generally too low? So, instead of saying too low, she said that these people are underpaid. Underpaid. So that's a good example of how to paraphrase your answer. Let's take another example of paraphrase. The first question in part 3 was about helping people. What are some practical things people can do to help their neighbours? This one, Ha changed the word help to assist. Assist. Same meaning as help. Another good example of paraphrasing. Later on, at the end of her answer, she paraphrased again by saying, give them a hand. Another suitable use of an idiom there, give them a hand. So there are some examples of how you can paraphrase to increase your vocabulary score.